what are we actually doing? What is actually going on? There are essentially three roles that we as creators need to take. The three roles are creator. I've actually changed the name to constructor. So that is what we do in the creative process. The second role is what is known as editor. I've changed the name to connector. Okay, now those two roles are very, very familiar, and I'll come to why I've changed the names in a second. What I realized was that there was a third role that you also need in order to have a healthy creative process. And that is of what I initially named as the dreamer. Okay, now I've changed the name to conjurer because what I realized, which is the mind-blowing thing, was that a lot of people have a very positive association with the word creator and a very negative association with the editor. And really, in order to have a healthy creative process, as I call it, you want to recognize that the editor is not bad and the creator is not good. They just are. So I decided to come up with some words which don't have a connotation in relation to the creative process particularly, which is why I've renamed them conjurer, constructor, and connector. The other reason is that they explain in a much clearer way what the roles actually are. So, conjurer, first of all. What the conjurer does, what the dreamer does, is conjures infinite future possibilities. Uses divergent thinking tools like guesswork, imagination, and intuition to make it up. I'm just going to make stuff up and ask questions like, what if I could? What could be possible? What could I do? Yeah? In other words, the conjurer is asking, why? Why am I doing this? What if this was possible? What if that was possible? We're really in a space of possibility with the conjurer. We kind of want to think, well, anything's possible. I mean, we know it's not, but we want to pretend that it is. And in doing that, really, the movement of the idea is from, in the conjurer space, from the unconscious to the conscious. The conjurer brings something that you might know in a sense, but you're not conscious of, and brings it into the conscious. So what does the constructor do? And here is the bit that was incredibly surprising to me. If the conjurer is thinking about the future, the constructor is really in the present. The constructor constructs or creates in the now to actually test, experiment, play games, which when you think about it are actually convergent actions. Because the conjurer's gone, oh, anything's possible. Now the constructor comes along and goes, what is real? The constructor makes something real. It's actually asking the questions, how do I do this? And what's really amazing about the creator is when you think about it like this, what the creator is finding out is what isn't possible. What can't I do? When you go into the process and you've got all of these great ideas and you go into the process and you go, oh no, oh, you feel that real, oh, this isn't working. That's because you don't realize that that is supposed to happen. Right? Because you're making something which was just in your mind, internal thoughts, you bring it into external reality. And you don't control external reality. You are a part of external reality. Because we always go, oh, the creator this, the creator that. Oh, yeah. Actually, the creator is the convergent one. The one that is realizing what you can't do right now. Which is where a lot of the pain comes from, is in thinking that that's not the case. So you've made something real. I mean, it might not be good, it might be bad, that doesn't matter, but you've taken something from internal to external with the constructor. What does the connector do? Now, this is really why I have changed the name of the editor to the connector, because unless you are an editor, like a book editor or something, you will probably likely have a negative connotation with the editor. The editor is a wonderful, wonderful figure, role, okay? What is it that you are doing when you are editing? How do you actually edit? What is it that you are thinking about? What are you noticing? What is editing? Well, for one thing, the connector, I'm going to call it connector from now on. The connector is connecting your past experience to the current context. If the conjurer is divergent and the constructor is convergent, well, the connector is using emergent methods like reviewing, analyzing, and editing, obviously, to make it work. But how do you make something work? What does even making something work mean? It means that you are connecting it to an existing context. It working, what it actually means is what has worked before. What works out there? When you're connecting things, you're asking questions like, what can I learn? Where does this work? Where does it fit? What can I change? It decides what is real out there and moves the thing that has been separate in the constructor space to it being connected with everything else. So the editor, far from being this unpleasant, like, person, is this role which is actually thinking about the world and the value and the contribution. And again, I think a lot of pain in the creative process is not realizing this. We're mixing our roles up. And obviously, when you think of it like this, you've actually got a much more realistic view of what is actually happening in the creative process. Because when you think of editing as actually connecting it to an existing context out there, rather than making it so that nobody judges me, it has a different flavor. It works in a different way. I've noticed this. You recognize that there is some value in almost everything. And it's up to you really just to decide what you're going to put out and what you don't put out, not how to hide from